This is the Diamond Hogs Podcast with Mason Choate and Robert Stewart.
Welcome to today's edition of the Diamond Hogs Podcast. Things going a little bit differently today. No Mason, so I'm Robert Stewart. You know me. I don't normally open things, but it's my show today. But I am very, very pleased to welcome Pete D'Alessandro to the show. He's been helping out with The Traveler and at HawgBeat. Great baseball mind. Pete, very glad you're here.
Yeah, thanks for having me on today. I'm glad that I could be here to replace Mason, another ginger in Mason's place. But we had a great weekend of baseball, and I'm really excited to start talking about it.
Yeah, we gotta have a ginger in the show. It's not whole without it. Anyway, like you said, great baseball to talk about. Arkansas sweeps Kentucky. That's big for all the doubters out there, huh? I mean, you talk about you want to win these non-conference games, and they're not winning all of them, and they show up to conference play, start 3-0.
Especially the pitching staff. I mean, they really showed out, only gave up 6 runs in those 3 games after looking good against Grambling. But I was really glad to see that they followed that performance up. It wasn't just a flash in the pan, but overall, very impressive series from the Hogs.
Absolutely. So we're gonna get into the 3 games, break those down. We'll also talk about weekend MVPs. We'll take a look around the SEC, and we'll look ahead to next week very briefly. But before we get into that, I've got to tell you where to find us. Of course, hopefully you should know by now, but just in case, the Diamond Hogs Podcast is available on the Hit That Line Podcast Network and on HawgBeat.com. You can visit hitthatline.com for all of your listening needs, from the Morning Rush podcast to Trusting the Process with Ty Richardson, podcasts like that. You can also check out my game coverage on hitthatline.com. I do the live tweets for them and write short little recaps, so go over there to hitthatline.com, and you can also visit HawgBeat.com for the best coverage of Arkansas athletics around. Andrew Hutchinson, Alex Trader, Mason Choate, Kevin Bohannon, Pete, and I help out sometimes over there as well. They all bring you the best of Arkansas sports, and particularly baseball. Andrew, Pete, myself, we're baseball guys first. I think it's safe to say that. And so yeah, check it out. Check out HawgBeat.com. And all right, it's time for some ads. So got to tell you about the First Seat Pub and Grill. Again, this is normally Mason's job, but he's not here, so I will riff and tell you all about the great menu at the First Seat Pub and Grill up in Bentonville. If you're looking to go out to a bar, watch the Razorback baseball game or basketball, whatever, they're going to the Sweet 16 now. So unfortunately for us, it's not just baseball season, but that's okay. You should go see the folks at the First Seat Pub and Grill for some great drinks, some really awesome food, and a very cool environment. So they're located up at 106 Southwest 2nd Street in Bentonville. Some really good hours, open at 11 every day of the week. They're open for breakfast on Saturday as well, Sunday brunch from 9:30 to 2. And again, great food. Just go see the folks at the First Seat Pub and Grill, or if you have any questions, you can call them up. Their phone number is 479-250-9149. That's the First Seat Pub and Grill in Bentonville, Arkansas. And if you're looking for a good burger, nachos, bar food, whatever, good beers, go eat and drink at the First Seat Pub and Grill. Take it away, Pete.
And then we have our second sponsor, which is the amazing Southern Lawn Service. Southern Lawn Service is serving the greater central Arkansas area. They specialize in landscape maintenance for apartment complex communities and industrial sites. They do landscape projects for residential and commercial of all sizes. Southern Lawn Service does everything including drainage solutions, new installs, landscape remodel, landscape design, hardscapes like retaining walls, and paver patios. They also sell bulk landscape supplies to the public: mulch, dirt of many grades, gravel, landscape rock, and sod. They're located at 1 Lee Road in Conway, Arkansas. Visit them or give them a call at 501-514-3463. Again, that's 501-514-3463.
Pete for Southern Lawn Service. Very good.
Yeah.
All right, let's get into Friday. It was a 6-2 victory Friday, and unearned runs were the difference in this game.
Yeah, Kentucky made 3 errors. I mean, just all around pretty sloppy game from them, but the Hogs were able to take advantage of those errors. They only had 3 walks on the day, So those errors were really huge in helping them get some runs across the plate. That's what you want. If the defense is going to give that to you, you need to do what you got to do to take those free runs, basically.
Exactly. That was one of the things I said before the season. That this team is going to make you pay if you give them 4 or 5 outs, and Kentucky did, and the Hogs did make them pay. We saw that. And there were a couple balls in the fourth too. There was that double by Turner, and there was a single to third. It was scored a single to third by Chris Lanzilli, but we were talking with Andrew Hutchinson about those. They probably could have made those plays.
They definitely could have. I mean, the score, especially with the Arkansas hitters, is pretty generous at times. And in our opinion, I know you and I go back and forth on this a lot during the games, but I mean, I'm sure those guys will take it.
Right. The inflation of the batting average, whatever. Right. But yeah, some sloppy defense by Kentucky. We heard Dave Van Horn talk about this. We're recording this Sunday as usual. Today in the postgame presser, Arkansas, that was pretty much the difference for the Razorbacks in the series sweep, is that they played a really clean, 3 really clean games defensively.
Well, yeah, and if I'm not mistaken, coming into the series, they had the best fielding percentage in the SEC. I mean, that's really the strength of this team, in my opinion. The pitching and hitting obviously could be great. I mean, we've seen them flash, but the defense is always there, especially up the middle of the field. You got Michael Turner back there, and then you got Battles and Moore up the middle, and Braden Webb in center field, who is starting to put things together offensively too. So really just an elite defense up the middle. We've seen the guys on the corners in the outfield struggle a bit at times, but I've been really impressed with what I've seen out of this defense so far in 2022.
Absolutely, no errors through 3 games in conference play. That's really encouraging. You hear the pitchers talk about it in their post game press conferences all the time. They love to go out there and throw with those 8-9 guys behind them.
Yeah, they're always really quick to credit all those guys, deservedly so. That's just a great defense. If I was a pitcher, I would love to have those guys behind me. Absolutely.
All right, let's get into some offense here. Arkansas strikes first on Friday. Caden Walsh, unsurprisingly, reaches on an error. Naturally, that's the way the game begins. And Robert Moore records the first of his 6 RBI on the weekend with a 1-out knock to left field. So that was big to establish that lead. Kentucky gets the run back in the third on a RBI single by Chase Estep. It was Estep, right?
I believe it's we could go do the pronunciation again.
I'm pretty sure it was Estep. Anyway, dude's hitting like 400, 450. So, but all in all, it didn't feel like he had that big of a weekend, did it?
No, he was hitting, if I'm not mistaken, in the 470s coming into the weekend. His OPS was right around 1,500.
That's absolutely nuts.
I actually have his stats right here for the weekend. This should be fully up to date.
Got him as 2 for 13?
Yeah, 2 for 13, 1 RBI, which was in that first game, 6 strikeouts, which he only had 9 coming into the series in the whole season, and 60-some at-bats. And then he only drew 1 walk to those 6 strikeouts. So the pitching staff just shut this guy down. He couldn't do anything.
He really couldn't. It's too bad that we just thought of that, because that would have been great to ask Van Horn about. Yeah. Anyway. So Kentucky ties it in the third, but of course the deadlock is short-lived. You got a couple more errors in the third. Some two-out hitting. That's right. It was a 2-out double by Zach Gregory. That was one of only 2 hits for Greg on the weekend, but it came at a big time. Put him on top by. What am I missing?
We also had that.
There was a sac
fly.
That's right. Put him on top by 3 after the battle sac fly. That's right. And then Connor Nolan just went out there and continued to work, man. He was impressive. Through 6 innings, he didn't walk anybody. And then had a couple in the 7th, ended up getting pulled, but 109 pitches after throwing 100 the week before.
Unbelievable. Yeah, I mean, like you said, he looked really sharp through those first 6 innings. And then in the 7th, faded a little bit, that's what we saw in the previous series too. He was electric through 6 and then kind of faded down the stretch. But, I mean, 7 strikeouts, 2 walks, 1 earned run. Even though he gave up 6 hits, I mean, this is the best offense that they've seen all season probably.
Right, and it was a great job of damage control, and we saw that all weekend really,
exactly.
Especially on Sunday. We'll get into that in a sec. 9 runners left on base for the Kentucky Wildcats, so that's a pretty good job of damage control for the Arkansas pitchers. We're used to seeing the Razorbacks leaving more runners on base than the opponents, so to come out even there is a good sign for Arkansas.
Exactly.
Let's see, what else? There's a run in the fourth. Michael Turner with an opposite field double said that was a play that probably could have been made. A couple hits later, Robert Moore picks up his second RBI. And then Robert Moore goes yard in the seventh with the solo shot. So he finished 3 for 4, scored twice, and drove in 3 runs on Friday. And, I mean, it feels like he was the bulk of the offense, really.
Yeah, without question. I mean, that was a third of the hits. I will say that home run was probably aided by the wind. I mean, it didn't look like it came off the bat that hard, and then it hit the top of the wall and bounced over, but... I mean, a 3-run bomb's a 3-run bomb. You'll take what you can get.
Do you remember what he said about it afterwards? He was like I just after he threw a 0-0 pitch, I don't remember what it was, but he was like, I just kind of left the approach and tried to go yard.
Yeah, he said like he missed low or something, so he just completely abandoned his approach, and he's like, I'm gonna go yard now, and then he did. So I mean, like that's just what a great quote from the press conference there.
He seemed kind of upset. I don't remember what the first question was, but he had a really good day, and he's normally one of the most insightful guys on the team, but he's kind of sounded sad for some reason.
I mean, yeah, you'd think he'd be happier after he'd been cold for a while. I mean, slumping coming in. Like you said, he had 6 RBI this weekend, and then if I'm not mistaken, he had 6 RBI in the previous 12 games before that combined. So you'd think he'd be over the moon. I don't remember what that question was, but I do remember him being a little upset.
He said, like, guys turn it on at the right time or when conference play rolls around or something like that.
Yeah,
I was like, whatever. I did really like his answer about Connor Nolan, though. I think somebody asked him, like, what makes him so effective? And he said, when he's got 2 breaking balls and he's locating both of them, you sprinkle in 91, 92, that's darn near impossible to figure out as a hitter.
Well, especially, yeah, like, and I think DVH mentioned this too. I mean, Nolan gave up 6 hits, but that's only because he's in the zone so frequently. Like, if you're pitching in the strike zone to SEC hitters, they're going to put it in play. And so you let your defense work. The defense did what they had to do. I mean, they got 6 hits, but they only scored the 1 run off Nolan, right? So, I mean, yeah, that's just good job by Nolan. Like you said, the 2 breaking balls. I really love how he tunnels both of them with the fastball. Like, it's on the same plane till the very, very last second and then just drops off the table. DVH called it a downer breaking ball. I think that's pretty correct. It's just a great repertoire from the ace. He looks like the veteran pitcher that they've been looking for years.
Yeah, for sure. And then they got some pretty solid relief to go with it too. Evan Taylor got through. Let's see. There were the 2 walks by Nolan in the 7th. He got a pop foul out and a strikeout to escape that jam. So he stranded a couple inherited runners. That was encouraging, and then a couple more ground balls and a pop up in the 8th inning. So we got 5 outs on 17 pitches, and I mean, by that point, you felt pretty confident with only 3 outs left to get.
Yeah, I mean, what else could you ask for from a guy that's been a lefty specialist? I mean, back to the tunneling. I don't know how much I'm going to use this today, but Taylor's a guy that has like. Just the slider and the 2-seam fastball is the same thing, except Nolan is more of like a vertical tunnel. Taylor is horizontal. Like that slider will be coming right at your front hip and then break and be on the outside corner. Then the 2-seamer will start there, dive in. I mean, he's not necessarily a strikeout guy, but that's not what you need. Like he just goes in there, gets outs, strands guys. Didn't look as good in his second outing of the weekend today. On Sunday, but I mean, great stuff. Like you said, 17 pitches to get 5 outs. I mean, what else could you really ask for?
5 up, 5 down in a big spot. So, yeah, great outing for the lefty. And then Cole Ramage comes in for the 9th. Didn't get credit for a save because it was a 5-run game. Did allow a run. Gave up a single to John Thrasher. That's a great name, by the way. John Thrasher, the 9-hitter, who was 3 for 4, Kentucky's best hitter by far in that game. He ended up scoring on a double by Ryan Ritter, the leadoff hitter. Unintentional rhyme there. But then got a strikeout of E-Step to finish it off and avoided some major damage there.
Yeah, I mean, although he gave up a run, put a little dent in the ERA, it took him 20 pitches. I mean, he went in, closed it down without having too much damage done. So, I mean, I'm glad it wasn't a high leverage situation, but I think He went in, did what you had to do. Then we saw him warming up just in case at the very end of today's
Sunday's
game.
Yep.
But Tigert was able to get it done. Ramage didn't get back in the game the rest of the weekend, but he did what he had to do in his one chance he got. So credit to him for that.
Yep, for sure. So big win Friday, 6 runs on 9 hits and 3 Kentucky errors. Compare that to Kentucky's 2 runs and 8 hits. Both teams left 9 runners on base. And before we get into Saturday, I want to remind you about our friends at the First Seat Pub and Grill in Bentonville. They're serving a great menu of burgers, wings, nachos, Mason's favorite, cheese curds. They've got just about everything a sports bar fanatic could want. So if you're in Bentonville or you're thinking about coming to Northwest Arkansas for a game, stop by the First Seat Pub and Grill in Bentonville. They're located at 106 Southwest 2nd Street, and their number is 479-250-9149. You can give them a call. Ask any questions. If you're looking to watch Razorback baseball, chances are they'll have it on the TV. And Sweet 16 coming up Thursday, that'd be a good time to go up there and have a drink, have a burger, have whatever, and watch the Razorbacks. So that's our friends at the First Seat Pub and Grill in Bentonville. Go check them out.
And then I'd also like to remind y'all about our friends over at Southern Lawn Service. Southern Lawn Service is serving the greater Central Arkansas area. They specialize in landscape maintenance for apartment complex communities and industrial sites. They do landscape projects for residential and commercial of all sizes. Southern Lawn Service does everything including drainage solutions, new installs, landscape remodel, landscape design, hardscapes like retaining walls, and paver patios. They also sell bulk landscape supplies to the public, mulch, dirt of many grades, gravel, landscape rock, as well as sod. And they're located at 1 Lee Road in Conway, Arkansas. Visit them or give them a call at 501-514-3463.
Thanks, Southern Lawn Service. All right, moving into Saturday now. Timely hitting, that was the big headline for me. If you look at it, they were 2 for 6 with runners in scoring position, and all of those at-bats came with 2 outs.
Mm-hmm.
So let's see. It starts with Robert Moore. Who else but Robert Moore in the first inning? He picks up his 4th and 5th RBI of the weekend, and at that point, he had as many RBI as he had at-bats in the series.
Yeah, I mean, just a great at-bat from Robert Moore. I liked how he was sitting from the right side. I think he went out and got a pitch maybe a bit off the outside corner and then just tanked it through the left center gap, hit it off the bottom of the wall, put up 2 in the first inning. I think that's one of the things I was really impressed with that the Hogs have gotten better at of late is scoring runs early in games and not waiting until they can get the starter out of the game. I mean, on Sunday it took them 3 innings to score, but putting up 2 there in the first inning, putting up a run in the first inning of the first game. I mean, just jumping on them quick, maybe shaking the pitcher's confidence. But yeah, those 2 runs were definitely needed because Kentucky came back and tied it in the top of the second.
Yeah, that's a great point. Before we get to the top of the second, I want to talk about getting hits early and often because Arkansas did that in all 3 games, I'm pretty sure. If you look at the first 4 innings, they racked up 8 hits. There were those 3 errors that aided them, but I mean, it goes back to you can't give them free outs because they're going to get hits with 2 outs if there should have been 3. And then through 3 innings on Saturday, 6 more hits and 6 runs as well. So, yeah, like you said, Kentucky ties it at 2, 4 singles off of Hagen Smith in the second. But, I mean, that was really it for him. Like, I think he was at 42 pitches after 2 innings and then finished his outing with 92 in 6 innings. So he settled down to throw 50 over the next 4 and didn't. I mean, he only had to deal with 1 base runner.
Yeah, at one point he'd retired 11 of 12 batters or something like that. But like DVH said, after the team came in, got him some run support, Webb and Stovall both hit those bombs. He really just settled in until the 6th when he gave up that home run, which we can talk about right now, or maybe once we get to that in the game. But
we'll move it along. So, like you said, a couple of home runs in the bottom of the second. Braden Webb with his 2nd of the week. He's really breaking out.
He's hot.
He's
hot, folks.
He got his first hit of the year on Tuesday with a walk-off grand slam, and he's rapidly approaching 200.
Yeah.
So that's pretty impressive for a guy who started 0 for 20 plus.
very, very impressive. You know, I don't know how many times DVH had to say that he was the best center fielder that they've ever had before he finally started putting things together. I mean, you know, we all know that he's had that defensive value all along, but it's been great to see him break out of that 0-for-23 streak and really, like, just be a huge contributor to the team all 3 games this weekend. I mean, Webb's here, and it's going to be interesting to see how the outfield looks once Borfin is healthy again.
I was just thinking that because, I mean, right before Borfin got hurt, he was starting to heat up too. Yeah. So it's going to be a battle. I mean, you can't really take Lanzilli out of the lineup at this point. Is he still the team leader in batting average? He's second to Michael Turner. He's 5 points behind Michael Turner.
Okay, Turner retook that lead today.
So Lanzilli's got to start. As you mentioned today in the press box, Pete, Zach Gregory has been on base in every game.
Yeah, so somehow I didn't catch this. Mason didn't catch this. No one caught this until I was going through, like, making some notes pregame, and I'm looking at Gregory's stats. I'm like, wait a second, this guy has gotten on base every single game this season. That's 19 games now, right?
He didn't start the 2 midweeks against Grambling.
Right.
So.
Right. Okay. So save those 2. Gregory has gotten on base every single game.
16 games.
Whether it's a hit by pitch, a walk, a single, double, he can do it for you. And it's all coming out of the 9-hole too. I mean, what an elite guy to have in the 9-hole. How many 9-holes out there are as good as him?
He's probably the best table setter in the SEC.
Probably. And I mean, you know, he didn't have an eye-popping stat line this weekend, but he got on base. He scored runs. How many runs did he score?
I think he only scored once, which...
Only once. But, I mean, he's still putting together great at-bats. I mean, seeing full counts a lot, really making the pitcher work to get him out before the lineup flips to Caden Walsh. So, you know, when he is getting on base, he can steal bases. He stole a base today. We saw he could do that. And he's getting on base for some of the best RBI guys in the SEC.
Right.
I mean, just... What a season he's had, flying under the radar the whole way.
That makes him the best table setter in the SEC, and that is exactly why I predicted him to lead the team in runs. Now, he's missed a couple games this week, so he's fallen behind Caden Walsh, which that makes sense. He's the new leadoff guy, but he's got the second highest OBP on the team, if I'm reading this correctly. He's sitting at 469. Chris Lanzilli's at 481. So there's your corner outfielders right there. Braden Webb's hot, but what do you do when Jace Borfin gets back? I don't know. Maybe one of them DHs and Brady Slavens sits because he was the only guy not to have a hit this weekend.
Unfortunately, Brady Slavens is starting to look like the odd man out. I mean, pretty brutal weekend all around. There were so many times where there was a runner on third or second and third, runners in scoring position with fewer than 2 outs, and he couldn't even manage to put the ball in play. I mean... He's just taking huge hacks every single pitch of the count, regardless of whether it's 0-0, 0-2. I mean, at times, you just need to shorten up and put the ball in play to give the guy a chance to come home.
Doesn't need to swing for the fence.
No.
But that's what he's doing, it feels like.
It's frustrating, and, you know, he had a decent game on Saturday night. He had 2 RBI, even though he didn't have a hit. He had a walk. And DVH said, like, that was a good confidence builder for him. But if it was, I certainly didn't see that today at all.
Right. Yeah. couple RBIs, good at bats. I guess they're not official at bats, but on Saturday. But like you said, didn't really do much for him on Sunday. Anyway, let's get back to Saturday's game. Where were we? We had a Homer from Webb. 2 batters later, Stovall follows it up with one of his own. That was between the scoreboard and the batter's eye. Is that right?
Yeah, he absolutely crushed that ball. It was 105 or 106 off the bat, 419 feet.
That's a monster shot.
Yeah, and it's kind of crazy to think this is the same guy that's kind of just piecing up singles, spraying line drives around the infield, and then all of a sudden he can just, you know, take a pretty normal swing. He's not swinging out of his shoes there and hit it 419 feet to right center field. Like, it's just really impressive stuff from the freshman.
Does he still have his hit streak going? No, it ended on Sunday.
Yeah, his and Lanzilli's both ended.
But I mean, his average is above 300 now. He's been on a hot streak for a while, so I think he can be forgiven for an 0-for game on Sunday. Yeah, Stovall's third on the team with a 313 batting average right now.
I mean, he definitely looks the part of the 2-hole. I mean, you know, Wallace looked really good in there. This weekend, he was only 1 for 14.
Tough weekend for Caden Walsh.
Didn't even get a walk.
It did kind of feel like he was due for a slump, though.
Yeah, he was due. I mean, honestly, it just seemed like he was trying to do way too much. He was taking a lot of ugly swings at pitches way out of the zone, as we can see from his 6 strikeouts, which was the most on the team this weekend. But, I mean, he's also the team leader in stolen bases, too. So when he is getting on base, he can get around them. I'm not worried about Wallace. We're not going to, as DVH said, I'm not going to rag on him.
Right.
Not ragging on Caden Wallace. I will not accept any Caden Wallace slander. He just had a bad weekend, and it happens.
He's a sophomore. He's still young. That's allowed.
Yeah, it's allowed.
He played well at third base. So
He did play. He made some good plays over at third base.
All right. That's through 2 innings, and then Jalen Battles had an RBI single. That was a hot shot to third base that Lanzilli ended up scoring on, correct?
Right. I think it deflected off the third baseman's glove. And
right. Lanzilli was on second, so I have it scored as a single to third, but Lanzilli got 180 feet on that play, so kind of crazy there. And then a couple more unearned runs on in the fourth inning. Kentucky's error on the first baseman with 2 outs was pretty brutal for them, because then not the starter, he only went 1 2/3. That was a tough outing for him. He only made it through the lineup once. But the second guy, Ryan Hagenow, after there was an error on the first baseman, what did we say? It came off the bat at 49 miles an hour.
Something like that. I'm trying to remember.
It was a small little flare to the third baseman or first baseman, and he dropped it. That was Lanzilli in the fourth, and then there were a couple walks by Moore and Slavens with the bases loaded.
Yeah, just more sloppy defense from Kentucky. I mean, they only had 1 error in that game, but. Let's see, today, 3
It was
more.
costly.
It was very costly because that inning led to 2 bases-loaded walks, one of them being Moore and one of them being Slavens. That was one of his lone bright spots of the weekend. That
pitcher, Hagenow, in 2 innings walked 5 batters, 3 of them in that fourth inning where they scored 200.
Yeah, absolutely brutal. I mean, if you want to beat this Arkansas team, you can't walk them like that. Like that, you have no shot if that's what you're going to go out there and do.
And you can't give them 4 outs in an inning either.
You can't do that.
All right, teams trade runs in the 6th. Solo shot by Hunter Jump, another great name. Kentucky was full of some pretty good names.
There were, and I'd actually like to talk about that because at that point in the game, that brought them to within 5 runs, right?
Yes, at that point it was 8-3.
Yeah, so solo shot from Jump. I mean, it was a nice swing. It was a pretty majestic home run. But you're down 6 runs, 5 after you hit it, and then you stand there right outside the batter's box, stare at the home run, and then bat flip right in front of the Arkansas dugout, and then point at the hog pen as you're rounding second base. Like, what are you doing, man?
That's a bold move, being down 5.
Very bold move, especially in Fayetteville, Arkansas. Out of anywhere you could choose to do that, like, come on, man.
Yeah.
And then today, 0 for 4 with 2 strikeouts. So I think karma came back and got Mr. Jump.
Oh, Mr. Jump. Yeah, so that made it 8-3 in the top of the 6th. Hagen Smith got out of that inning, ground out and a strikeout later. Gave him a quality start. I believe that was his 3rd of the year. 6 innings, 5 hits, 3 runs, all earned, 3 walks, and 7 strikeouts to go with that on 92 pitches. And like I said, 3rd quality start of the year, I believe all 3.
I think you're right.
I believe all 3 starters have 3 quality starts now because Wiggins got one on Sunday as well. And that was Smith's team-leading 4th win.
Right.
So he's gotten a decision in every start. Took the loss against Stanford, but the other 4 times he's gotten wins.
I mean, I was just impressed with him overall. You know, he wasn't unhittable. He gave up 3 runs. How many hits did he give up? He gave up 5 hits.
4 singles in the 2nd, but
right,
and then the solo shot in the 6th, but no hits in the other 4 innings.
95% of the damage was in those first 2 innings. So, I mean, overall, he walked 3 guys, struck out 7. I was really impressed because he didn't have his best stuff. You know, he was really struggling with control out of the gate.
A couple walks in the first inning, but got a nice 4.63 to get him out of that.
Defense bailed him out there. Definitely owes Robert Moore and Braden Webb a couple beers after that. But
he's not 21. What are you talking about?
He's not. So he won't be buying them. But regardless, he didn't have I saw him top out at 93, which was kind of surprising. He was sitting around 90, 92 all game. And then, like DVH said, he just started locating his off speed, really depending on that more, which I think was a trend that I saw with all the pitchers this weekend. Maybe it's something I didn't pick up on early in the year, but they were really going to their breaking balls a lot more often, especially very early in the counts, if not the first pitch of at-bats. He was really going to that changeup and slider a lot, and it was effective down the stretch.
Yeah, and like you mentioned, all three starters, I mean, they had their breaking balls working, and it had the hitters fooled. I mean, 7 Ks for Nolan, 7 for Smith, and 8 for Wiggins on Sunday.
Yeah. Overall, great stuff from Hagen Smith. I mean, what else could you ask for? Gives up 3 runs, but the offense puts up 9, so it was more than enough from him.
Right. So the Hogs get that run back in the 6th. Michael Turner scores after another opposite field hit. It feels like he had at least 3 or 4 of those this week.
He was just going down and slapping things the other way, not trying to do too much at all. It's just a veteran approach right there. That's what you're seeing from him.
Yeah, all 4 of Michael Turner's hits went to left field. That's beautiful.
Good for him.
I love an opposite field hit.
I love an opposite field hit,
really
too.
do. And then, like you said, Brady Slavens gets the sac fly to drive him in. Final score 9-3, 9 runs on 8 hits for the Hogs. Made 6 walks. Haunt Kentucky. Series win on Saturday.
Yeah, so clinched it going into Sunday with an almost full bullpen because.
We didn't even talk about Zebulon
Vermillion, friend of the show,
former guest, yes,
friend of the show. 3 scoreless innings, 5 Ks, 1 walk.
Walks the leadoff guy, and then 9 in a row.
Yeah, just retires all of them to get a save. And the best part of it is he was up to 94, 95, maintaining that the entire way, even though he threw 44 pitches, which we hadn't seen him go that long yet this season. I mean, I didn't see this guy last year at all. I don't know who the heck this guy is.
Still has not given, as we mentioned the last episode, Vermillion needs some credit. He's working a 0 ERA right now, and he's pounding the zone too. I mean, his first pitch strike percentage against those 10 batters, 70. So credit where credit's due. Great season for Vermillion so far. All right, 9-3 win. Hogs win the series. Let's do another ad read before we get into Sunday. So want to remind you about our friends at the First Seat Pub and Grill up in Bentonville. They've got a great menu. If you're into bar food, they've got burgers, wings, nachos, awesome appetizers such as cheese curds. If you are a sports fan and you like to eat like a sports fan, you should definitely go see the good folks at the First Seat Pub and Grill in Bentonville. They're located at 106 Southwest 2nd Street in Bentonville. You can call them if you have any questions, 479-250-9149. They're open Monday to Wednesday from 11 to 11, Thursday to Saturday from 8 o'clock to 1 a.m. They do breakfast between 8 and 11 on Saturday. Pretty cool. And then Sunday brunch from 9:30 to 2, and they close at 10 on Sunday. So open pretty much always. If you're in Bentonville looking for a place to get a drink or some awesome food, go eat at the First Seat Pub and Grill.
Go check them out, folks. I'd also like to remind y'all once again about our friends over at Southern Lawn Service. Southern Lawn Service is serving the greater Central Arkansas area. They specialize in landscape maintenance for apartment complex communities and industrial sites. They do landscape projects for residential and commercial of all sizes. Southern Lawn Service does everything including drainage solutions, new installs, landscape remodel, landscape design, hardscapes like retaining walls, as well as paver patios. They also sell bulk landscape supplies to the public, mulch, dirt of many grades, gravel, landscape rock, and sod. And you can find them over at 1 Lee Road in Conway, Arkansas. Visit them or give them a call at 501-514-3463.
Thanks, Southern Lawn Service. All right, let's talk Sunday. Series sweep. 3-1 win. Low scoring, but again, you got some lockdown pitching, and like Dave Van Horn said, scored just enough.
Just enough. I think it was great just to get out of the series, sweep them, second sweep of the season for the Hogs. Just a quick little Sunday game, get on back to Lexington. That's pretty much what happened.
Yep, you're right. It was a quick game, under 3 hours. Always love that. Braden Webb is the story offensively early. What was it, 442 feet?
442 feet.
111 off the bat?
111 off the bat.
Holy shnikes.
I thought I was hallucinating when I saw the TrackMan in front of me, because I saw it and it was a tank, and I knew it was gone as soon as he hit it, but I was just dumbfounded when I saw that 111 exit velo. That's ridiculous.
And it cleared the fence by 70 feet. I mean, it was over that 375 sign in left center.
It almost took someone's head off in the hog pen.
I could not see where it landed.
No, it could still be traveling. I was telling Robert it's probably going southbound on 49 right now towards Conway.
That is a possibility. It's going to find Mason.
Yeah, it's going to find Mason.
Anyway, 2-run shot. Jalen Battles gets on with a single. Braden Webb hits that mammoth shot, and then they add an insurance run, I guess. Can you call it an insurance run if it's in the 4th inning?
At the time, it doesn't seem like one, but then
ultimately it was.
But it's just like insurance. You don't think you need it till you need it.
Right.
So,
exactly.
Yeah.
Jalen Battles with another hit. This was on a squeeze bunt play, very well executed. Robert Moore coming down the line. First baseman couldn't quite field it. We were unsure how it was going to be scored. It looked like it could have been a fielder's choice because the only play was at home. But after watching it again, I don't know if the catcher could have gotten the tag down even if the ball was fielded cleanly.
No, I mean Moore broke at the perfect time. I think it was more of a safety squeeze than a suicide squeeze.
Oh, for sure.
But yeah, I mean Moore broke at the perfect time. Battles laid down a very good bunt. I mean, just excellent execution all around from the two middle infielders.
For sure. Yeah, the bottom of the order really came up big there. Like I said, Jalen Battles scored the first run on the Webb home run and then drove in. It feels weird to call it driving in a run on a bunt, but that's what it is. Anyway, but the bottom of the order, Battles, Webb, and Gregory in Sunday's game were 5 for 10 with 3 RBI and 2 runs scored.
Yeah, so they drove in every run, had 5 of the 6 hits. When you throw in Turner's knock, that was the 6th hit right there. I mean, that it doesn't matter where the production's coming from, but I sure as heck love to see it coming from the bottom 3 in the lineup. That's for sure.
And like we said, Caden Walsh is struggling. He had a couple strikeouts, couple groundouts to second base Sunday afternoon, but I mean, you got to figure his slump is not going to last long.
No, I don't think it will either. I mean, you got Missouri coming up this next weekend. I think that's a great opportunity for him to get hot once again.
For sure. And for those of you who haven't heard yet, the Razorbacks will not be playing in Wednesday in Kansas City at Kauffman Stadium. Sounds like some more bad weather is forecasted there, so they're going to skip the Kauffman game. Dave Van Horn said that they're looking for other midweek opponents just in case they can get to Fayetteville, but don't count on it. Next game's probably going to be Friday in Columbia.
Yeah, I mean, I think you just give those guys a nice spring break. They've won 11 straight now.
Yep.
Played 5 games this past week, won every single one of them. I mean, give these guys a break, man. Like
gives us a day off too. I'll take it.
Yeah, gives us a day off. I mean, just let them enjoy spring break and then come back ready to play in that road series against Missouri.
Missouri, who was just in Nashville this weekend, and I believe got swept by Vanderbilt.
Let's check on that.
Vanderbilt and Tennessee, I think, were the 2 teams to record a sweep. Currently recording this during the conclusion of the LSU A&M game, which looks like it's tied at 6 right now, but A&M did win the first 2 games of that series in Baton Rouge.
I'm seeing a confirmed sweep of Vanderbilt over Missouri. They won 15-2 on Friday. Saturday, they win 6-0, only allowing 3 hits to the Tigers. And then today, Sunday, 7-4 win for Vanderbilt, moving them to 17-2 on the year, and Missouri is now 12-5 on the year.
So I think that's a composite score of 28-6, if I'm not mistaken.
I wasn't doing the math, but I'll take your word for it.
Wow. So looking like Missouri's not a great team. I mean, we know Vandy's good, but yikes, outscored by 22 in 3 games.
Yeah, a tough weekend for Missouri. I mean, that's just a brutal schedule for them, facing Vanderbilt in Nashville and then the Razorbacks
and Arkansas to start conference play. Wow. Brutal schedule indeed, but should be a good opportunity for Caden Walsh to bounce back.
Agreed.
All right, where are we? Let's talk pitching on Sunday. That was important. Jackson Wiggins was great.
He was amazing. I mean, in the first inning, came out firing. First pitch of the game was 97 miles an hour. And
he was pumping gas right away.
Touched 98 in that inning as well. First inning, I have 2 strikeouts. Although he did walk a guy with 2 outs, I mean, he didn't allow any runs. The velocity, although he was up to 98, was pretty inconsistent in that first inning. I saw him anywhere from 93 to 98. But all the way through his final inning, I mean, he was still, in the 6th inning, he was still touching 96 miles an hour. What I thought about his start today was that DVH confirmed it, and so did he, that he was mixing in his off speed a lot better, starting batters off with the off speed. Just looked like more of a complete pitcher rather than just a hurler out there today.
Yep, for sure. Did a great job working out of the stretch. He did give up 4 hits and 4 walks, but in all 6 of his innings, he left all 8 of those guys on base. Six shutout innings, 4 hits, no runs, 4 walks, and 8 Ks. So led the team in strikeouts on the weekend and notched his 3rd quality start of the year. I mean, that's got to make your team have a lot of confidence if your starters can go out there and give you 18 innings of 3 or fewer run ball any given weekend.
I mean, each of the 3 guys in the rotation look like they could be the ace of a staff. It's just ridiculous. Wiggins has a 2.76 ERA on the year now. That's with his pretty bad start that he had against UIC, still at 2.76, and he's 3-0.
You said Wiggins is a 2.76? Is that on Stat Broadcast?
Yeah, so probably correct.
I'm not sure what's going on with that, but the PDF on the Razorback website, Connor Nolan's rocking 307, Hagen Smith 308, and Jackson Wiggins 338.
I'm seeing that now.
Not sure which one's correct, but either way, all 3 of those guys are sub 3.5, which that's going to play.
Amazing. And I mean, I'm seeing pretty good Wiggins' strikeout to walk ratio isn't great, but Nolan 38 strikeouts to 8 walks, Hagen Smith 32 to 12, and then Jackson Wiggins is 29 Ks to 16 free passes. Not optimal, but he's getting outs and he's limiting runs, so it doesn't really matter how you do that. I mean, might not be as sustainable, but he looked like he could beat anyone out there today.
Yeah, for sure. I do worry about those walks. You're right.
Yeah.
But again, all the players we got to talk to this weekend, they talked about Kentucky's a really good hitting team. They're like we said, E-Step started the series hitting 470 or something like that. You had a handful of other guys above 300, so they gave up some base runners, and Wiggins in particular, but all 3 guys did a really good job of working out of jams.
Yeah, I mean, they just seemed unfazed with runners on base. Wiggins especially, they made a huge point about that in the press conference, even though he didn't really seem to admit it or care very much. Maybe he didn't even realize there were guys on base, honestly. But, yeah, it's just all around. I mean, there was not much that you can complain about from these guys other than the walks, which they didn't end up having to pay for.
Yeah.
So.
And I don't know, Pete, if you've listened to a Jackson Wiggins press conference before, but that was probably one of the better ones he's ever given.
Yeah.
That's the most I've heard him talk.
Today was my first, and I probably heard he got asked about 3 or 4 questions, and I heard about 20 words come out of his mouth in total. I think it's kind of impressive to be able to answer questions with that few words, honestly.
He's a man of few words.
He's a man of few words, more the quiet, strong type, but
he had more to say than he usually does, so I respect that. He's getting better. All right, 3-1 win. Let's see. Evan Taylor comes back out. Did give up a solo shot to the leadoff batter, Ryan Ritter. So that made it 3-1 in the 7th. Gave up a double as well. Worked around it. And then, like you said earlier, Brady Tigert coming out of the bullpen, getting a 6-out save. That was pretty big.
It was huge, and we heard DVH didn't want to reveal that he was going to be bringing in Tigert to close out that last game, but he kind of alluded to it in Saturday night's press conference. But great stuff from Tigert. I saw someone in the HawgBeat game thread compare him to Blake Trinan, which I think
interesting.
I wouldn't go that far because, I mean, he doesn't have the same velocity, obviously. Tigert's more 94, 95, and Trinan's like 98 to 100. But that 2-seam slider combo, same thing. Tunneling is really, really good. You know, he got some loud contact off him today.
Yeah, 5 fly ball outs.
But what I got from that was that he was just unafraid to pitch to contact today, whereas in other outings it seemed like he was trying to throw it by everyone.
Yeah, I mean, he talked about it, right? He just goes out there and trusts the defense, and that's a common theme with all these Arkansas pitchers is they don't feel like they have to strike guys out because we already hit on this. The defense is elite.
That's what DVH does. He recruits defense, he coaches them up, and that's the building block to everything for this team because kind of like insurance, you don't really know you need a good defense till you don't have one.
Right.
In Kentucky's instance, Grambling's instance, I mean, for Grambling, that wasn't the difference in those games. But for Kentucky, that was the difference between them maybe leaving here with at least one win.
Yeah, I mean, four unearned runs Friday, that's the difference in the game. And, I mean, they all 3 Arkansas runs Sunday were earned, but they did also make 3 errors. So, I don't know, man. It makes you appreciate the Razorback defense when you see teams come in and commit 7 errors in a weekend.
It's just so much fun to watch, too, especially Battles and Moore flying around up the middle. Battles just makes these uncanny plays look so easy, especially the ones where he's going deep into the 6 hole and then just turning around and throwing a laser over to first base.
And Peyton Stovall has been a rock over there for a position he's never played before.
He looks like a natural. Like, if you had told me that he was recruited as a shortstop, middle infielder, I wouldn't believe you. I think he's a first baseman. He's looked really good, making picks. There was one throw Saturday night that Battles kind of made a bad throw, short hop. Stovall went down to a knee, scooped it, and swung around and tagged the guy. Bailed Battles out, got the out. It's just, I'm trying to think if I've even seen him make an error over there this year. He might have dropped a pop-up or something at some point, but
I think he dropped a pop-up. Yeah. I don't know if he got credit for an error, though.
Right, the technicality.
Let me check the fielding stats. Are they here? Got him. Peyton Stovall, where you at, buddy?
I mean, whether or not he's made an error, the point is he's making plays you wouldn't expect a guy in his shoes to make at his age, too, as a true freshman. So
right. Just
very, very impressive stuff. And then we haven't even mentioned Wallace, who's looked really good over at third base, too, coming in from right field last season primarily.
Mm-hmm. One error on the year for Peyton Stovall. He's got a .992 fielding percentage.
He'll take it through as many games. That's pretty dang good. I will say with the defense, I think I mentioned it earlier, but the corner outfielders a little shaky. Lanzilli has looked pretty good. He's made some tough plays.
Better than Slavins, that's for sure.
Unquestionably better than Slavins. Lanzilli's just fine out there and right. But Gregory, even though he gets on base, at times looks kind of shaky out there in left field. Maybe not running as hard as he can to a ball and allowed the hitter to stretch a single into a double, or just kind of struggling to get the ball in time. I mean, he's serviceable, but definitely not a plus guy in left field, in my opinion.
But that's okay because
he gets on base.
There you go.
And that's all you could really ask for out of the guy.
You're a good egg, Pete. All right. What else do we need to talk about? Weekend MVPs.
Weekend MVPs.
Let's do that. Who you got? Batter first.
We'll start off with Robert Moore. Great weekend for him. I'm trying to pull up these stats right now.
Robert Moore on the weekend, 4 for 9, 6 ribbies, 3 runs scored, pair of singles, a double, and a tater. 2 walks and 2 strikeouts.
Yeah, so. I mean, just pretty much not flawless, but just very, very good job, especially considering the skid that he was on previous to it. Like I mentioned, getting as many RBI this weekend as he had in the previous 12 games, doing it from both sides of the plate, and doing it from the 5-hole, too, where DVH really prefers him because he sees him as one of the prime RBI guys on the team. He proved that he's just that. He had a great weekend, great bounce back. Hopefully he can keep that momentum going into the Missouri series.
Right. We heard Van Horn talk about, we want to put him in the 5-hole. We want to get him more chances to drive in runs, and that's exactly what he did this weekend. So kudos to Robert Moore for delivering there. I got to go with Braden Webb. I didn't think that this moment would come, but Braden Webb is my offensive MVP this week. He also had 4 hits, 4 for 12 on the weekend, 3 ribs, 3 runs scored, a couple singles, and a couple home runs. So he's got 3 home runs on the week now. 2 in the series, 3 on the week. He's 1 behind Michael Turner for the team lead, just like that.
Yeah, I don't know if it's something DVH told him or what went on in Braden Webb's head between the first 23 at-bats in that Grambling series, but he's here. He's the center fielder if he can at least hit half as well as he hit this week in the rest of the road.
Yeah, and coming into the week, he was sitting at 0-0-0, and now he's at 175, so the race to 200 is on.
Yeah, we had an ongoing bet in the press box on what his batting average would be after the weekend, and I think he exceeded all of our expectations.
Yeah, you were saying around 120. You said 120 140 range.
Yeah, 120 140. Give him a little bit of credit.
I said 140 160, and Yep, like you said, blew us both out of the water. All right, pitchers. Who you got?
Well, Robert, I was going to go with Connor Nolan, but more than anything, I'm just super impressed with how Vermillion did. I've been saying it all year, and people have been ignoring me. Like, he needs to be, if not one of the 2 or 3 go-to guys out of the pen the rest of the year. I mean, I love that he's a veteran. He knows exactly what he's doing. He's got the velocity back up to the mid-90s. He's got the breaking ball working for him. And he's just this flat-out intimidating grizzly bear on the mound. Like, he's probably the last guy I'd want to face if I just looked at each guy on this pitching staff. But yeah, 3 innings pitched, 0 hits, 0 runs, a lone walk with 5 Ks and 10 batters faced.
Retired his last 9 hitters.
Just absolutely shredded Kentucky down the stretch in that second game. And that is why he is my pitching MVP for the weekend.
I'll take it. And another thing that I want to mention about him is we know longevity is not an issue with him either, because I'm pretty sure last March against Louisiana Tech and Alabama, he strung together back-to-back 8-inning outings.
Yeah, he has that in the tank. And, if he's going to go out there and do that, he won't be 94, 95 the whole time, but you don't always need that.
Right. And, if Smith or Wiggins or Nolan struggles one game and has to come out after 2, 3, 4, then you can turn to Vermillion to maybe even finish the rest of the game, but certainly give you probably 3 innings of middle to long relief.
I think you could even, I don't think it'll happen, but you could even, on a bullpen day, ask him to go out there, throw 4 or 5 innings to start the game for you, and then hand it off to the rest of the pen the rest of the way, and that's great
for sure.
Vermillion.
Yeah, when he came on the show, I asked him, like, what's your desired role on this pitching staff, and he said he doesn't care. That maybe it's a generic ball player answer, but he's going to go out there and give the Razorbacks whatever they need on any given day. And Saturday night, it was 3 innings at the end of the game, and that's what he did. So I like your pick, Zebulon Vermillion. I'm gonna go with Jackson Wiggins. I was really impressed with the sophomore today. Sunday, 6 scoreless innings, first SEC start since did he get one against Florida last year at the end? I feel like he's probably had SEC starts before, but 6 scoreless in the first of 2022, in a game where they didn't score very often. So that's big for me. I think Jackson Wiggins was the most important player to Sunday's win, even though they already clinched the series. Another win, like Braden Webb said after the game, sweep the first weekend, that goes a long way down the line.
It really does. And I think he saw that as a bounce back opportunity after he struggled in his previous start. But he, if anything, kind of overcompensated for that. It's like chill out, man. Like you didn't need to show us that much. Like okay, we know you can get it to 98 and maybe save it for later in the season, but I mean, regardless, I was blown away. It was an amazing outing from Wiggins. All you could ask for from the guy.
For sure. All right, weekend MVPs. They were brought to you by the Encore Group, realtors in Central Arkansas. When it comes to selling your home, you need representation that will knock it out of the park. Get it? Knock it out of the park. Matt Grissom and the Encore Group at RE/MAX Elite will go to bat for you. Get it? Again? With 14 years of experience and experts at marketing and negotiating, the Encore Group will get you the most amount of money for your home in the shortest amount of time. 2 great things there. So don't risk it when it comes to selling real estate in Arkansas. For more information, you can go to sellingarkansas.com. Thank you again to Matt Grissom and the Encore Group for your sponsorship.
Yeah, they're great. Also very punny, evidently, too.
Yes, they are. Tell us about Southern Lawn Service, Pete.
So our friends over at Southern Lawn Service, they serve the greater Central Arkansas area, and they specialize in landscape maintenance for apartment complex communities as well as industrial sites. They do landscape projects for residential and commercial of all sizes. Southern Lawn Service does everything including drainage solutions, new installs, landscape remodel, landscape design, hardscapes like retaining walls, as well as paver patios. They also sell bulk landscape supplies to the public, mulch, dirt of many grades, gravel, landscape rock, and sod. And you can find them over at 1 Lee Road in Conway, Arkansas. And you can contact them at 501-514-3463.
Thank you, Southern Lawn Service. And we are also brought to you by the First Seat Pub and Grill up in Bentonville, Arkansas. They've got an awesome menu, some really good pub craves and faves, burgers, wings, nachos. They've got some awesome starters, too, fried pretzel sticks, pickle fries. Big pickle guy, I should go up there and get some of those. Mason loves the cheese curds, garlic parmesan, truffle fries. I mean, just an outstanding menu up there at the First Seat Pub and Grill. I need to go up there now that I'm 21, go check out their beer menu, too.
I've heard it's great. I haven't had the opportunity to try it out yet, but I've heard nothing but good things about them, especially from you and Mason. So we'll definitely have to go grab a beer at some point now that you are 21.
Sounds good. All right, they're located at 106 Southwest 2nd Street in Bentonville, Arkansas. Go see them. You can watch the Razorback baseball team, basketball team, any sporting event you want to watch. Chances are they'll have it on the TVs there at the First Seat Pub and Grill. If you have any questions, you can call them up. Their number is 479-250-9149. That is the First Seat Pub and Grill in Bentonville, Arkansas. All right. Do a quick look around the league, and then we'll wrap it up here. So, as we mentioned earlier, the three sweeps as of this very moment are Arkansas, Tennessee, and Vanderbilt. So, for the time being, Arkansas is first place in the SEC West.
Yeah, great start for them. Ole Miss had a... I have her here.
Ole Miss got slaughtered.
They did.
On Friday.
They lost 19-5 to Auburn, but in the other two games of the series, they won 13-6 and 15-2. So I'm looking at their overall schedule right now, and I'm seeing double digits or 8 or 9 runs in about 80% of these games. So their bats are awake and have been awake all season. That's pretty clear.
You have to wonder with Arkansas picking up a sweep and Ole Miss taking it only 2-1. You have to wonder if the Razorbacks might hop the Rebels in the standings. I'm kind of thinking no, because it's all about winning series, and that's what Ole Miss did. But the competition, I mean, Auburn's not great. Kentucky's not great. Both teams did what they had to do. As it stands right now, Texas A&M and LSU are tied at 6 in the bottom of the 7th. A&M currently leads that series 2-0. So if the Aggies come out with the win, they'll be tied for first with the Razorbacks. As we said earlier, Auburn dropped that series to Ole Miss. Bama dropped it to Florida. Mississippi State lost 2-1 to Georgia. They got double-digit runs hung on them twice.
Let's talk about Mississippi State, because the defending national champions are now 12-9 on the year.
I don't think they should be ranked after this week.
I can't believe they still were to this point, honestly.
For real.
I mean, they dropped that opening series to Long Beach State. Wasn't even close. They dropped one to Northern Kentucky 6-7 at home. Lost to Southern Miss on the road 7-1. Dropped 2 or 3 to Tulane, so that's 2 series losses already. Drop 1 or 2 to Texas Tech. And this weekend, lose 2 or 3 to Georgia. One of those was 11-0 in the series opener.
Man.
That's just...
I mean, I know they're missing their ace, but come on.
Yeah, like out of the defending national champions, you'd expect, I mean, at least 3 of those losses to be wins. That's just pretty ridiculous. You really got to wonder what's going on over there in Starkville.
Now the Bulldogs hung 20 on the other Bulldogs. Mississippi State 20 on Georgia on Sunday, correct? But they had lost the series at that point.
Yeah, so the series was already over. Georgia won the first 2, and then that's the point where Mississippi State decides to start putting up runs, is when they're already have the series go the other way. But, you know, they have a little tune-up game coming up against Southern on Tuesday, so we'll see what they can do there before they face Alabama this next weekend, also at home.
Big divisional series.
So, yeah.
All right, so that covers the West. LSU sitting in the cellar at 0-2 right now. Maybe they will have completed the comeback against A&M by the time you're listening to this. We shall see. Tennessee and Vanderbilt, as mentioned earlier, recorded sweeps over South Carolina and Missouri, so they are tied for the top at the SEC East at 3-0. Georgia, Florida, tied for third at 2-1, and then 3 teams, Missouri, Kentucky, South Carolina, sitting at 0-3. One of those teams, the Razorbacks will see next week in Columbia.
They will.
And I'm talking about Missouri, not South Carolina.
I will say about South Carolina, though, I watched a bit of one of their games against Tennessee this weekend, and I was just super unimpressed, honestly, which we can see by them being last place right now in the East. But it wasn't what you expect when you think of South Carolina baseball at all. So, yeah, it was a great sweep for Tennessee, but to be honest, have they even played anyone yet? Like, they've just been destroying mid-majors and no-name schools all season.
Tennessee.
Yeah.
Yeah. They've got the best record in the conference overall at 19-1. So you have to wonder if that's the case.
Against who?
I haven't paid attention, but you know what? I'm also pretty disappointed that the Vols aren't on Arkansas' schedule this year.
Yeah.
The rivalry that bloomed out of last season, that's one that I would have liked to see again. But who knows? Maybe they'll see each other in Hoover. Come tournament time.
I would have loved to see Vitello come back to Fayetteville. See how that goes.
After those fireworks, yeah.
We won't get to see it on Arkansas's home turf this year, but who knows? I have a strong suspicion that the Hogs will see them at some point in the season.
Hopefully in Omaha. That'd be fun.
Hopefully in Omaha. That would be absolutely electric.
All right. So Arkansas, first place in the SEC West after one weekend of conference play. That's just about gonna do it for us at the Diamond Hogs podcast for today's episode. Mason will be back on Friday's episode. He'll be 21 by then as well, so he can join us at the first seat. Have a beer, and we'll talk to you for a Missouri preview Friday. Looking forward to it. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time.
You've been listening to the Diamond Hogs podcast. Follow the guys on Twitter at Choate Mason and at drstew32.